What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bev Boys, your one-stop shop for all your energy drink reviews and, of course, some great performance talks with great people. I'm Brian.
I'm Christian.
And we are, of course, the Bev Boys. But with us today, we have a great guest. One of my, long storied connection of being in each other's lives without ever, always directly being in each other's lives, which is a really cool thing. We were teammates in college. We interned, not at the same time, but interned at the same school. And then we've both worked with the same boss, just at different locations and different schools. Josh Neumann.
What's up, y'all? What's up? Pleasure.
Dude, can you give us, so like I said, I gave a little bit on there, but give us what you got a weird, really cool kind of way of having a career path? You want to just
very untraditional.
Yeah.
Kind of like I've been in and out of the strength field kind of ever since I left high school. Whenever I went into JUCO, my former defense coordinator went to a high school right down the street, so I was helping him out transition. So I was out doing strength training at the high school level, kind of fresh out of high school, again, freshman in college. But when I got to CSP, I was interned at CSP with Rich and mainly Tyler, did a lot of their GPS data input, stuff like that. Went to Nebraska for a little while, not at the U. Decided to transfer to Doane University, NAIA in Crete, Nebraska. Was there for 2 days, and I realized there's levels to this shit. And if I'm going to get CTE, I want to compete. So I was like, I decided to step away a little bit. And then when we moved back to Minnesota, Alex got the job at Carleton, and I reached out on a limb. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm looking to get back in the field. You need an intern? He's like, yeah, I'll take you. And I'm the type of guy, probably don't know the best, but I can create a good environment, and I can coach pretty well, I think. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll gladly take any teams off your plate, just kind of get some experience. And I was with him until he left. They actually gave me the director spot there for about 24 hours, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm out. And then it became, like I said, now director of Division II Sport Performance at St. Cloud State University. So I said, we kind of have all mutual friends with Zach, Tyler, and Alex, and even Jordan a little bit. But it's a very weird path. We're always we're about to intersect, and it's just like, nope.
Yeah, it's as soon as everything starts to really align, something happens where it just kind of veers off.
Yeah,
it is nuts though to think about. I've talked about this probably multiple times on the podcast, and Christian, I've explained this to you just in the office when we used to sit with each other. The level at which CSP had on a coaching staff for what I believe collectively was $50,000.
Yeah.
They had Rich, our director, Jordan Newsma, legend. They had Alex, they had Tyler Leonard, who, just that name itself in the state of Wisconsin is just Jim Leonard's brother. And you might not believe it. You think Jim Leonard's smart. Tyler is just as smart, but all in S&C. And then you have Zach Elder, you had Josh, you had myself. And I believe wholeheartedly that was and the budget was $2 and good intentions.
100%.
Oh, and of course, Alex, we can't forget, and the guy that mentored both of us. But you got to think about that all in one building, just passing through within relatively essentially 3 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's nuts to think about, but one of the crazy ones is right now you kind of you're settled, you have a good career, you have everything going, but the last stop before this, you just said, screw it. I don't care if I get paid. I want to learn. I want to do this. What was the thought process when you kind of went back to the industry and, a little bit, I'll say deeper into your career, but just saying, we talked about this a couple episodes ago of these guys who really want to be good. They're just going to do the opportunity that might not be the most money or the most this or that, but they just want to get back in and be humble and get the most out of it. What was that for you?
No, fortunately, I'm we're very blessed. My wife is the primary breadwinner, so I was able to kind of go take a few steps back.
Hell yeah.
Work for free, and I was teaching rec classes at Carleton as well for $500 a month, like so it was like it covered my car note or whatever. But yeah, no, like I feel like genuinely my passion and what I was put on this earth to do is help people any way I possibly can, and that's kind of how I saw it. Like Carleton, even though they're very prestigious academically, from the athletic perspective, they're kind of very understaffed, underfunded. So I was like, this would be a great opportunity for me to kind of do what God put me on this earth to do, and how can I help? That's just who I am. Leave a place better than how you found it, and that's what I wanted to do. And I saw the perfect opportunity, especially when Alex got the job. I was like, you know who I am. You know how I am as an athlete. You know I'm a hard worker. Like I'll run through brick walls for you, no questions asked. Just give me the opportunity to impact people's lives in a positive manner, and that's what I wanted to do. And I was like, screw it, we can do it. We figure it out. And it was tough. We said thankfully my wife has a pretty dang good job, and we were able to afford all our bills and stuff. But it would have been nice to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
but but it is what it is. It was very fruitful and yielded me some a pretty cool experience. And obviously in my current role that I've been at almost 3 years now, and been pretty successful here as well.
When you kind of go through that and you look back, is there any little piece of it that you're like, God, I just wish we'd have just skipped it, or any little bit?
I wish I would have went through the process a little bit longer, you know.
Okay.
But I very much believe in like baptism by fire. So like, was I realistically ready to be a director of a Division II performance program? Hell no. But I figured it out.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Christian before you hopped on, excuse me. Like I feel like I'm very good at creating an environment, very, very good at creating buy-in, and a pretty damn good coach. My programming, like I look at it all the time, like this could be better. This sucks, yada yada yada. But I really think like 90% of success is about buy-in in the environment you create, right? And like I said, I think I create a pretty damn good environment wherever I go. I'm naturally introverted, but I'm also naturally extroverted. Like I have no problem connecting, talking to people, ranting, like no problem at all. So I can connect on on these athletes on so many levels. It's insane. But like I said, I wish I went through the process a little bit longer and really learned a little bit more of the X's and O's behind it. And yeah,
Oh no,
did
Christian.
we lose them?
We might have lost him. His power went out for sure, but we'll get him back in a couple minutes here.
Gotcha.
Um, for you, I guess, Josh. Like, there's two things I want to ask. Number one, what was the interview experience like when you were getting hired back in at Carleton?
Um, Kind of really didn't like talk about after Alex left and they were handing me the job essentially.
No, I want to know how Alex interviewed you.
Oh,
I want to know how similar it was to my experience.
to be honest with you, I don't even think we went through a formal interview process. If I remember correctly, I think I DM'd him on Instagram. Yeah, very similar. You're like, you already have the job. At Turn On the
Yeah,
Lights. Yeah,
yeah,
I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, just show up and we'll figure it out. I'm like, all right, cool.
yep, yeah.
And like he sent me something a few weeks ago, and I was like, good. Like my one card, I guess it was called that we used to swipe into all the buildings. It was like my
Mhm.
very first day. I was like, my one card doesn't work. I hate this place. He's like, bro, you've been hired for 12 hours. I'm like, still valid. No, we just want things to be seamless. But like I said, like Alex knew who I was as an athlete, and me as a professional, not really any different. So yeah, I don't think he had a problem hiring me and and trusting me with his teams.
Yeah.
So,
So the other part I want to ask, because you brought up a really really good point that we actually talked about a couple episodes in a row, of like the difference between like the X's and O's versus the environment that you're in, and which one plays a larger importance on the actual, I don't want to say the athlete experience, but essentially how fruitful those sessions are for the athletes, whether it be training gains, whether it be them getting buy-in, etc. All those things. You're really big on the buy-in of the environment, right?
yeah.
Talk us through like why that is for you, and why that's the most important thing, and what kind of role that plays in St. Cloud State's kind
I
of
mean, like
training.
we like St. Cloud versus Carleton is significantly different. Like Carleton, they only have like 2,500 students on campus, and 90% of them are very, very wealthy. St. Cloud, not the case. St. Cloud is a state school where I would say 90% of my athletes are come from blue collar families and or underprivileged areas. Shoot, I even deal with we have a lot of international students as well. Um, so they want to feel like home. And in my opinion, what home is like is in that good environment, being able to come to a place, have fun, dance, sing, but also get some really good work in. Right? It's like clocking into work at a blue collar job. Like you go in from 4 to 7 p.m. every day, right? But the guys you work with are probably usually pretty good, fun to shoot the shit with, crack some jokes. So like in terms of like, I do not work a blue collar job by any means. Don't That's not what I'm saying. But in terms of the environment, I think it's like that. The athletes come to me, we have a good time. They have no problem opening up to me to a degree, and I don't overstep. Like but also look out. And I think that comes from kind of my own path as an athlete. Unfortunately, my dad died at 15, and that's kind of who I relied on. I relied on my coaches, my head coaches at the time, and assistant coaches at the time, and particularly Coach John Feaster, who's the now head coach at my high school. Like he played at football at Cincinnati back in the early 2000s. Like he's 6'2", 270, big old African American guy, but he was really really hard on me, but it was all out of love. And like I said, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't without him. And I just want to kind of repay what he gave me, right? Just want to pay it forward. And like I said, I wouldn't even be standing here today if it wasn't for that man and even that coaching staff. Um, but no, so that's kind of where that comes from. If I was a pussy in high school, my freshman year, but I'm not a small human by any means, and he saw my potential. I was in high school at 6'2", 240, 250, and he was like, "No, we can work something with this." And then like he took me under his wing, and he's very much my father figure. And like I said, I just want to repay what the dividends that he gave to me, type deal.
Mm-hmm.
To me, a good environment is something that you don't truly realize like the importance of it until you see one that's not very good. And I think that kind of can be taken for granted sometimes. Like especially at a smaller school where you have a lot more athletes and you're not just working with, it's just a different environment, like at a D2, D3, where the S&C is kind of, it's important to build that good relationship because oftentimes, the academics take priority or there's just not enough time or space. So when they do get in there, having that good environment is like super important. I feel like you can't really truly appreciate it until you like see how it's done with a poor environment and you're like, oh, that actually kind of sucked. Like everything else was good, but the environment made all the difference. It's
No,
kind of
right.
crazy.
No, and like it's like me being a JUCO product too. Like I thought like the high school bigger, faster, stronger product. I was like, this is cool. This is what SNC is about, lifting heavy weights all the time. But then like as I developed as an athlete and got to JUCO, we kept kind of following like the early 2000 stuff from University of Louisiana Lafayette, because that's one of our coaches were from. And I'm like, maybe this isn't the training protocol anymore. And then yeah, when I got to CSP, got introduced to triphasic and what y'all were doing there. I'm like, no, there's actually real meaning and intention behind this, and like now I'm actually starting to move the needle forward. And Alex and Tyler and Zach and Rich are all personable people, so like things really started to click to me as an athlete. Kind of when I transitioned this to CSP, I'm like, no, environment really really matters. The people who you're around really really matters, because you can my saying is like you can have the golden toolbox, that fixes all the problems, and can win every single game. But if you can't coach, you can't implement it, and you can't build buy-in, those athletes don't give a shit. You're not going to get
Yeah.
results.
I guess in terms of that, like when you kind of look at that golden toolbox, what's in your golden toolbox of like these are the things that if I could structure the perfect program for me, I want this involved in my program. Like
As in
what's in
terms
that?
like in terms of like exercise selection, or kind of like personal ability, or what do you do?
You
All of
tell
it,
me. You
all of
tell
it.
me.
No,
You get five. What's in that golden toolbox? What's that five things that you find are the most that if you're gonna build something perfect in a dream scenario?
oh,
Oh,
I was thinking about picking one of those up today too.
Yeah, I just
dangerous.
want to highlight. I think I saw Brian crack his second energy drink at like the 10-minute mark. Is that true?
Yeah.
Did you just gas that whole Red Bull?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I'm
pulled a
like, damn,
TK. Shout out TK.
we're like 10 minutes in, and this guy's cracking number two. It's like shit. I gotta catch up.
No, I
I'll
got
give you I'll
to.
give you a break though, since it is an 8-ounce one.
Yeah, it wasn't 8 ouncer. So there's like 80 milligrams of
And
caffeine. Still delicious.
yeah, and the fact that this whole show was born out of a love for energy drinks is probably also a
No,
valid
I
excuse.
love it. Had to pull a
Yeah.
legendary pull today. One of my
I knew
favorites.
that. I thought that's what that
Oh,
was.
Favorite. No,
the
like
rain
like
white gummy bear,
I
goaded.
was thinking about like pulling like high school me because like I have a can of like watermelons OGC4 in my office.
Oh,
So I'm like, pull back like high school me, just looking for a caffeine chase. Just little watermelon. But no, I love Rain's flavors, man. They're good. They're delicious.
the sour gummy worm is incredible.
Yes. Did you like? I think I was telling you this whenever I tried the like the White Monster off-brand one from Rain.
Oh yeah,
Oh, like this is a great value, bro. You missed the mark on this one, Rain. Come on.
yeah. It's like almost like an ivory and blue kind of like light blue kind of color on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't.
I can't remember
It's
what
like
it's called. Is it like white
like
haze
white
or some
frost.
shit like
Yeah,
that?
white haze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is no, thank
The
you.
the one Rain flavor that needs to come back is the lemon drop one.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the lemon head or whatever they called it with the blue
That
and
They haven't
yellow.
made that one in a few years.
I
They
know.
need to bring that back.
Yes.
That was so good. Yeah.
Oh, but I guess to answer your question, kind of the five. I get five things. I would two would be like immediately like hard work and curiosity. I want you to like work hard and always be curious, question everything. Even if like there's sometimes like athletes like, why are we doing this? Like, I don't know. I just think it looks cool, or like, hey, I think like I tried this out and I felt it kind of where I want to feel, where I wanted to feel this, and we're gonna try it out. Um, but in terms of like, I guess exercise selection, sprinting, jumping, those things are gonna correlate to athletics the most, in my opinion. Um, God, give me a fifth one. That's gonna be. Give me a fifth one. I'm gonna go meathead here. I'm gonna pick a single exercise. We'll go straight bar deadlift, baby. Straight bar
Oh,
deadlift. Let's just rip some
Yes.
heavy circles off the fucking ground. You know.
I always find that question just so intriguing because it's like because when it's so open ended, you can kind of see what people kind of prioritize. Is it equipment? Is it exercise selection? Is it like you kind of really off the rip, you took two intangible things. You wanted personality traits in the environment, and the rest you'll just figure that shit out.
Yeah.
A lot of people might say, well, I need GPS, I need a force plate, I need this. You went the complete opposite direction of like, you give me a bunch of kids who are just bought in, they want to go for it, we'll figure it out,
All
you
right.
know? And I feel like if we were to walk into a session, that's probably going to be a lot more of what we see than, you sitting maybe at like on like a chair looking at a computer and dealing through a lot of statistics, which is fine if people do so, but each environment's different. Each coach personality is going to kind of come through in that question, which is kind of interesting to see where you went for it. And you're like, hey, give me some hard worker, give me some blue collar kids who kind of care about what they're doing, and we're going to go for it.
No, right. I mean, because again, that's kind of what my progression into athletics was like. Like growing up in South Mississippi, like we worked out in a big ass pull barn, and if it was 110 degrees outside, we just open up the garage doors and you're sweating that baby out. There's no other way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And all we had metal plates, and metal plates are way more than rubber plates. There's no argument against that. So it's just a bunch of dudes with like metal banging around and listening to some good music, and like a lot of
Just
we were a big ASAP Rocky team at the time, if I remember correctly. Like, and I think I think it's called Hustle Hard by ASAP. It's like, same old shit, just a different day. I mean, that's how it was, and the environment was great. And even when I went to JUCO, everybody had their own selfish means. They all want to get to D1 bound, baby, right? But at the end of the day, we play a team sport. Like the weight room was always a place where we can come together and grind and get after each other and make each other that 1% better, right? Be that guy 1% better every day. But and like we never had anything fancy. I didn't get exposed to tech until I was an intern at CSP. I was like, oh, we have these GPS units. We wearing sports bras. What the hell are we doing? And like we had the jump mat. I don't remember. Did we have timing gates? I don't remember if we did or not.
we never used them because we had the GPSs
Yeah.
and the way we ran it, the way we ran our program. always just came off the GPS data, but it was a lot of, we weren't really timing flies or anything. It was just a lot of races.
Yeah.
We ran the hell out of races.
Yeah.
And I remember us, like, we'd have line guys hitting up to like 25, 30 yards, DBs, wide receivers, running backs. We were going up to like 50, 60 yard sprints, like full on. Yeah, when you think about it, like, I'll say this, like at CSP, I think if it was another school, my transition to track and field post football would have been much more difficult.
Yeah.
But just knowing, like looking back and seeing like what like Rich, Jordan, Alex, Tyler, Zach, everybody kind of put us through. We ran a legitimate sprints program just with multitude of different sizes of athletes.
Oh, I can't even tell you how many times I go back to like our old CSP files and like I'm like, oh, this was cool. I remember doing this, and like I go
Just
back
digging
all the
through.
time and just and dig through. But like no, but even like when we got to Carleton, Carleton was under an 120-year-old stadium that the roof leaked and there was guaranteed mold and asbestos. Like they painted a yellow line about waist height that was the flood line at one point. And like it was just a dungy basement. But majority of those kids actually genuinely worked hard, and all me and Alex had was some timing gates and a jump mat, and that's all I have at St. Cloud is some timing gates and a jump mat, and we yield results. I have I'm a humbly brag a little bit. I think 3 of our 14 Division II teams are in the top 10 nationally ranked, and like we produce a nice handful of all Americans every single year, and and like am I good at my job? I don't know, but we're doing something right.
I mean, it's a great way to look at it too. Is like we're gonna make the best of what we have, and we're gonna do the most we can with what we have.
All right.
I guess like for you, now this might piss some people off, but everyone's got their own favorite teams to train. What's been the most surprising team for you that has been that one that like you might not like 5 years ago you wouldn't have thought, oh my god, I'm in love with training this team.
I'm gonna give you a past and a current answer. Past answer was whenever I was at where we were at Carleton. Tennis and golf were very, very fun to train. They're just freakishly powerful, just rotational athletes. Like you put them under a barbell, they're kind of like fish on land. But you ever got a med ball or like the little weighted rips? What the hell are they called? Little weighted like golf clubs.
Yeah.
Dude, they sling the shit out of those things. Like they were so fun to watch. Even I remember we had this kid named Ryan Choi. Like he had no problem clearing a 40-inch box jump, and he was like a 5'8". I'm like, dude, you are a freak athlete. So they were really surprising to learn. And me and Christian were kind of talking about this beforehand. When we were at Carleton, we had a lot of international kids, a lot of foreigners. Like, so the language barrier there was insane. So I think that one thing, like having to deal with those teams and Alex giving me those teams to coach, really helped me coach, like really helped me develop as a coach. I had to teach the same thing 14 different ways. Like it was insane. Um, Current team, my current teams, I would say like baseball. I love our baseball players at St. Cloud, and they're not prima donnas. I mean that respectfully. I feel like Instagram, social media has kind of ruined the way of baseball in a lot of sports. But majority of our baseball guys are those blue collar. Let's just put our head down and get the fucking work. Like we had guys, we were testing the other day, and we had guys like trap barring 630 plus on the high handle trap bar. I'm like, I love
Fuck
this.
yeah.
Like versus like I feel like a lot of guys kind of like wouldn't do that. I don't know. Like again, that's fully speculation from social media. That's what my experience is, but no, like they get after it. And my favorite team to work with at St. Cloud that's very open is volleyball because I see them the most. Like volleyball is very much like our CSP days. Like we were there all the time. Like we give volleyball off maybe 48, 50 weeks. Like I see them 48, 50 weeks out of the year. Like they're with me all year round. We're training at least 3 times a week, even in season. Once school ends and finals are done, we give them 2 weeks and they're back in June. And then we give them 2 weeks before kind of fall camp. But I see them the most. They're the most dedicated, and that again, like Chad's very good at his job as well. And his assistant is like Big Ten Player of the Year, Marcy. So like we have a very good collective staff and we know what we're doing. And again, the writing's in stone. It's not even in the sand. It's in stone. We're good at what we do.
Yeah. I mean, St. Cloud State's volleyball has been historically very, very good,
Yeah.
especially in like the short history. You
Yeah.
guys have been on fire. So I mean, that's obvious though, is that like the success, like it leaves cues into the fact of like it's not just, hey, we have really good players or we have a really good coach. It's we have really good players with a really good coach who care a lot, and then they care a lot about all the small things that go in line with winning, which unfortunately, like a lot of times, like you don't see that. What you would a lot of times when you see these championship teams, you look at it from face value and you go, they must have everything figured out. And then you come into it a little bit closer and you go, oh, this system's kind of held up with some duct tape and some sticks.
Oh yeah.
How are they so successful versus being in there where you're seeing it's like, no, everything is structured. This is steel pillars that have this held together, and it's all one, like, as they would say in the movie Bad Teacher, it's very simpatico.
God, I haven't seen that in a long time. Jeez. But
Your
no,
jeans feel good against my jeans.
oh, like if like we have a few like do you remember Ella Thompson at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like she's one of my
Dog.
athletes currently, Savage.
Dog.
Like she's wired differently, and like I think she was an All-American last year for if I remember correctly, and like me, Chad, Marcy, we have, and even our athletic training and medical staff are like, look, this is bugging here today. Maybe it's limit our jumps, but we can do this. Like I'm constantly bugging our athletes because I'm a big fan, a big proponent of like, just because you're hurt or you're injured or something's not feeling right, let's switch up the exercise. Let's do something else that's productive. Let's just not like sit on your ass and not do anything. That's something I don't believe in. Like, yeah, rest and all that stuff, and all those good recovery modalities have a time and a place, but have an hour of maybe of your time. Let's make it productive in some form or fashion. So, I'm always constantly bugging our athletes, like especially in season, like, hey, is anything bugging you? What's going on? And like some of them roll their eyes at me. I'm like, I'm not trying to bug you about. I'm just trying to make sure we're pushing the needle forward. Like making sure we're healthy, because when the games do matter, like right now we're still in preseason technically, or like our non-conference games. I'm like, this shit doesn't matter. Our conference is one of the hardest conferences in the country for volleyball. Like whenever we're playing CSP and then Mankato and then Duluth, like let's be ready then. Let's make sure we win those games. Like that's why I'm bugging you so damn much. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it.
Yeah. That is crazy that we've had. I mean, there's another example though. Kind of just speaking on Ella, like an overlap of our careers, just never matching up at the same time, but overlapping.
No, right.
Christian, when I was at Lights, Ella I think she was on the 17s and 18s. Like 17s year was like my first year, 18s my last year. She was on those teams, and she ended up going to believe South Dakota State, and then transferred over to St. Cloud now, where, correct me if I'm wrong, I think she was like the NSIC like preseason player of the year.
Yep. But even like I believe Emma Barron was one of y'all's athletes as well, and she's been
Emma
a three-time All-American for us.
Yeah. we had a lot of freak athletes. That's I'll say this, and I'll speak to the effect on like volleyball. That was a very surprising team, like sport that was fun to train. From like my time at Lights, like even the youth kids, and obviously you're kind of like selecting as they go through that like kind of stage. They're pulling these like phenomenal athletes to join this prestigious program. But when you're around that and you see high level talent, obviously in the sport, but also like that, like almost that broken switch in kids that just want to train hard and be the best in a great environment, that was awesome to be part of. But it was just one of those most surprising things where you're watching, 16-year-old girls who can straight up approach jump, up to, 11 feet.
Yeah.
And they may only be, 5'11" to 6 foot, but just absolute power. So it was always fun to see. And that was one of those surprising ones, like I said, from myself. And so I can see why you're like, yeah, that's a great team to be around. Because when it's done right, it's a beautiful thing to be around, and it's a fun environment. And you kind of have like the training wheels are just off, and you can just explore, and we're like, hey, we're going to try this for an entire block. Yeah. And a lot of those kids are just gonna be like, all right, cool. How do we do it? When do we do it? How are we going to do it? Like, where are we going to do it? It's never like, oh, we have to do this.
No, right.
They just want to get after it.
I would say recently another team. I shouldn't say recently. Probably the last like 9 months. Another team that's like, I think of it like I have like this whole ranking system in my brain, and I can kind of get into it if you want. But like of teams that like they show up, they work hard, their coach's commitment to me, and the team overall commitment to me as well. And like in my opinion, when the team is committed, the coach is committed, and all three are we're all on the same page, like we yield some pretty cool results. Another team for that for me recently is our softball team. Like, we really tried to push the mark on speed in season last year, speed development, and we had one. She was I think a sophomore All American last year. Her name's Brooke Holmes. We were doing time 20s kind of on like a Monday or Tuesday before they played on Friday, Saturday, something like that. And she hit a PR on like she had like a 0.01 PR, and then that next day she hit a infield triple, and she was like, "Josh, I did that because of my PR." I'm like, "You damn right you did. That's literally like, you know,
The hardest the hardest play to make
no,
in
right."
baseball or softball, just an infield triple.
I'm like, I'm
That's
like, I'm
nuts.
like, I was like, this is a perfect example of like I understand, milliseconds and these tiny increments of time don't matter really realistically in real time, but these things do matter in sports.
Yeah.
It's like that 0.01 significantly mattered. If you can get to that base a little bit faster, you can round this a little bit more efficiently. Like you're good to go. Let's go. Like that was huge. And she's texted me in the group chat, and like we have a group me's softball chat. She's like, "Josh, I owe it to you." I'm like, "Let's go. You did that though." No, it's like we have a very very fun training environment. Like I said, even at CSP, I was like, I'm gonna throw some shade. Um, interning, I was like, these basketball teams are like the attitude was just kind of piss poor. So I had a rough kind of introduction to basketball. I was like, everybody's like this. When we got to Carleton, the men's team got after it. I'm like, dude, this is fun to work with. And now again at St. Cloud, like I don't know if it's just a different kind of socioeconomic backgrounds or what, but like our men and women's team, they fucking work, dude. Like I really don't have any problem with any of our teams not working hard, and that's such a like so nice not to have. Like I can genuinely focus on coaching, genuinely focus on what we're doing again to move the needle. Like because I know they're going to show up. I'll say 90% of them are going to show up and put their best effort forward.
Yeah, instead of the environment of you having to push them to get any little bit of work done, you almost have to kind of reel them back, and that's a much better situation to be in because you're just saying like, okay, like everything's great, we just got to dial back a little bit for our
Mm-hmm.
easy days, you know?
Like I struggle to like get them to get rest. Like I do like everything I do has some type of French contrast work, and then like all year round, I just love it. And they'll just try to bang 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 through it. I'm like, no, hold on. Like when you're done, give yourself like 2-3 minutes. Hold on, wait.
It's like the old school, like when Alex used to give me a lacrosse ball, you make me throw it at the wall for 3 minutes. He's like, you have to rest, and I was like, oh, okay.
It's like, and that's kind of one thing I took away from Alex. Like I understand these kids, like they want to get after it. So I'm like, let's sit on the ground, do some three bad ankle. Let's do some T spine mobility. Let's do some shoulder work or something. Let's just do something that's going to move the needle a little bit more, right? But it's not going to be taxing at all. And then go back and do your thing. 'Cause, like
Yeah,
you ever look at my workouts, they're dense. They are fucking dense. There's really not a lot of volume there, but there's a lot of again this accessory work to again hopefully make them feel good, look good, feel good, play good. Again has merit. So
that is true.
100%. It's interesting to me, like how the constraints of whatever environment you work in end up kind of shaping you and developing you as a coach. What are some of the constraints you feel? Obviously, like you've worked at D2 and D3 schools where the constraints are usually a little bit higher than, bigger schools that have a little bit more money and resources. What are some of like the constraints that you say you face and how that's kind of helped you improve your coaching style or how you've had to adapt to them, whether it was at Carleton or in your current position? What could
that's
be
a
facilities, could be really anything.
no, that's a good question. I would say like kind of delegating a little bit more. So recently, like I want the kids to come to their sessions like prepped, ready to go. Like right now, we're doing some like super endurance work with our softball team, and like there's like 6 different stations, and every station needs to be set up. Like I want, or if we're doing like a contralateral aerobic circuit, I want to have all the stations set up so when they come in, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What's our pros cons of the day? Like just do our little check in, warm up, let's go. But like recently, I've been having to like I'm just so busy, having to have some teams set up their or do their warm ups on their own, or set up their lift on their own, and like that's kind of really been bugging me. But I'm also like, Yeah, I'm one person, and I have 400 athletes. Like it's, and I'm literally being asked to be in two places at once. So I'll just say delegating a little bit more. Like if that's anything, Alex and Rich really kind of taught me was like the athletes are already under a lot of pressure between boyfriend girlfriend stress, life stress, school, their coach is chewing you out, whatever the situation is. The last thing they want to think about is coming into the weight room and having to set up their own lift. Um, like I said, so that's kind of really bugging me right now. But again, I have to be realistic. Like I have to delegate to them a little bit, especially with my assistant being gone now. Um, and then I have like other interns now that they're starting to help me out a little bit more. We're in week 3 or 4 of school, so they're getting a little bit more comfortable setting up and doing stuff like that. And I got to just be thankfully usually all my interns are previous athletes of mine, so they kind of know how the system works a little bit. So that's been just trying to delegate. Like I'm all over the place, but I'm also like OCD how things are done, and I just expect things to be done to the way I want them to be done without telling them. So it's just kind of, yeah, just delegate and trust the people to do it. If they mess it up, that's how you learn, right?
I mean, that's fair. I think we're all a little bit like that though, and there's a big learning curve when it comes to actually having to delegate that and teaching someone how to be a teacher essentially versus teaching someone just how to do something.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that like when it clicks right, but at the start you're kind of like you kind of have to fumble around like an idiot a little bit there, and then you kind of work your way through it. Um, how like when you kind of like structure your internship program, right? I know I'm kind of flipping the script here.
Oh, let's hear it.
um, when you're going through that, like what to you do you think is like the most important thing to get them rolling, and then where are you really trying to emphasize their learning and their growth points from there?
I would say biggest thing is coaching. So the first the first like 1 to 3 weeks is like build a structure warm up. Let me see what it looks like a little bit. And like I have a 16-week curriculum that I have for all of them. And we have different talking points each week. But my biggest thing is coaching. If you can't stand in front of 40 people and command and lead a room, again, doesn't matter what you know if you can't actually do the thing, right? So I really try to get them uncomfortable or an uncomfortable situation and have them figure it out. And I tell the teams beforehand, like, hey, this is so and so. He's never done this before, and if he messes up, that's all right. We're trying to learn, right? Um, no, just trying to get them to do that stuff. Like right now, I have intern named Wyatt Tweet. He's one of my baseball players, but like he has some coaching experience at like some local CrossFit gyms and some other local gyms. So like he's he understands what's like my how my warm ups usually run. He's a exercise science major and stuff like that. So he kind of understands what I do and why I do it, how I do it. But and so he's kind of been moving along pretty quickly in terms of like some of my other interns. Um, like my previous intern, like she was a track athlete, but didn't really know kind of again what we do, why we do it, how we do it. So we took a little bit longer on like let's build these warm ups. Let's kind of learn the systems behind it first before you feel comfortable enough to lead a warm up session. So I kind of play it by ear depending on who they are. Um, thankfully, like every single one of my interns so far has moved on and has a job in the field in some regard. Like my assistant who started off as an intern, he was my very first email. Like before I even had access to my work email, he sent me an email. He's like, "Hey, I'm Kyle. I wanna work with you." I'm like, "Dude, I'll gladly take you." And he interned with me for a semester, then was my GA, and then turned to a paid stipend assistant. And he took the full time assistant job at Eau Claire, and like that's huge. And then my other intern is now at ETS in Appleton, Wisconsin. Then my other intern is at like Sartell High School as a track coach. Like I'm glad I'm again trying to move the needle a little bit forward across like all these other respective sports and again hopefully putting good people in the field. So long answer to your question. Hopefully,
We like the long answers though.
I could talk a
Yes,
lot. I
sir.
could talk way too damn much. Like my recruiting spiels when the recruits come in are way too fucking long. But
No, I think like it's interesting. I think like Altus talks about this a lot. Like coaching is teaching essentially, which is really what it is. It's a little bit different, and this is I think why like everyone's had that teacher, whether it's high school or college, that like you just don't get it, and like the teachers aren't good at teaching it to people that just don't understand it because it's been so long before they've been since they've been in that position of just like getting their feet wet. So being able to teach someone how to like teach something, I think it helps you become a better coach too, because you have to kind of break it down in a way that like, okay, you know how to do the thing, but can you teach someone how to do the thing? And
Right.
that kind of like, especially like we were talking about, like, okay, having to teach it in a different way for someone that like speaks a different language, stuff like that. That's something that I think that kind of gets overlooked, because the more like if you've been training and you know how to do, whatever, squat, push, pull, hinge, you're really good at that stuff. It's been so long since you were a beginner at that that you can kind of forget what it's like to like teach it to someone who doesn't have that background.
Oh
So I
yeah.
think that's like coaching the athletes is obviously like your priority, but an investment in that is like being able to like coach good interns so that they can also do that, and that you kind of have that multiplier effect. If
No,
that
you're
makes
right.
sense.
And like one thing I'm very fortunate about is like how you see me here on camera is like how I coach. Like I cuss way too much in my sessions, and I don't care if it's in front of women, guys, whatever. Like I get to be my genuine self and not have to walk on eggshells all the time. Like versus that when I was at Carleton, I was like this. I still talk about this to this day. Like we had I think it was like the women's track team leaving. I was like, "Have a good day, ladies," and they stopped and then turned around. I was like, "It's women." I'm like, my bad, homie. Shit. Not like sorry. Like, what do you mean? It's the same damn thing. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. So, like, it's like, so I get the, and that's a big one reason why I do genuinely love St. Cloud so much. Even though we're severely understaffed, we're severely underfunded, we're in a huge financial deficit. Like, you can be yourself at this place, and there's no questions asked. Like, again, every single time I introduce myself to our kids, I'm like, "Hey, I'm Josh. I want you to have fun, but if you're being an asshole, I have no problem motherfucking you and kicking you out the weight room. I'm not an asshole, but I can be. I do, and I feel like I do, or at least our upperclassmen do a really good job of like understanding, like they understand my constraints, they understand I'm one person, so they really kind of help out with that throughout the sessions as well. So I can be way more hands on with our people who's never touched a barbell in their life. And like I really couldn't even do it without our upperclassmen. Like they're very very helpful. Like we have a track girl from Nepal and one from the UK who like they've never touched a barbell in their life. So like I spent 20 minutes with them trying to teach them how to do a front squat. I'm like, and I know our upperclassmen are gonna, and the rest of the sessions gonna be taken care of because of kind of the systems that we put in place.
I mean, that's a real special environment when it's almost like the onus is on that like upperclassman to be an extension of you without necessarily being an intern. They just know that like this is the expectation, this is the environment we're in. Work has to get done. So if you have to dedicate your attention to someone who isn't quite there yet, that they just pick up the pieces and continue to roll.
All
I
right.
mean, that's a sweet thing that a lot of people don't really get. Um, I guess like on a similar note to that, like because a lot of people don't have that, they can become very negative, right? Or they say this is the answer, this isn't the answer, all these different things. For you, when you look at the industry as a whole, what do you think is like the most broken thing within the industry? Like what's wrong with it?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I can go two ways with this. I think there's some people that rely way too much on tech. Like I saw, like I'm gonna throw some shade at TCU, but TCU, if you're gonna offer me a job, I'll gladly take it. Um, they're putting in their little tablet, fucking weight on like I think they're using like Virtue or whatever their velocity based training shit is. I'm like, fuck it, dude, just rip the barbell. If you're trying to move it for speed, just rip the fucking barbell. Like, oh, there's like I'm still like I would like to learn the tech, but there's still so much like old school like side of me of like hard work and consistency is going to yield results. Just show up and try. Like Alex's thing was like, have you tried trying? Like you'd be surprised how much that just yields results, right? Um, but secondly, I think like people try to make it too robotic or like it has to be so methodically planned out, and if it doesn't go that way, then the whole session's ruined. I'm like, no, like be able to adapt and change on the fly. You have to, and if like sports are so dynamic and chaotic, like nothing's ever going to be ABC. It's fucking you may jump to the end of the goddamn alphabet. You're like, what the fuck? Like It's just no. It's just you have to. You can. I think that all plays a part of being kind of being personal with our athletes, right? Like if you get to that kind of methodic point where like you have to plan out every single thing, and it's like, oh no, somebody got hurt, and you crash and burn. Like, come on, you got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to communicate, and then have your athletes kind of trust you, be able to adjust. So,
It's almost like the extent of like us being coaches. You're both a systems engineer and like a social engineer
yeah,
in the effect of, okay, I've built this perfect thing, but I know that there is going to be a wrench at some point. How do I build safeguards to where we can just, like you said, adjust and adapt on the fly to get everything back on track and get the most of what we can, even if it isn't this extremely strict, schedule or plan or workout, whatever it might be.
no, right.
And most people, I think you see it a lot with a lot of younger coaches. They have this very, meticulously planned out workout. What this is got to be this is got to be this. They may have like overshot that aspect of their learning of the X's and O's, but then when they get into the situation, something doesn't go right, or if they're using say VPT, it takes them 20 minutes to find out what's in that zone because they haven't figured out what it might be,
No, right.
and now they have 20 minutes gone, and
No,
they
like
don't know how to get that back.
I would love all the toys. Like I would love to play with them a little bit, but like again, at the end of the day, I'm still like just that Southern Mississippi fucking put your head down and go to work type deal. Like that's just ingrained in my DNA, right? Like that's just how things are down there. Like I think my high school just got turf, and like I'm 10 years, 11 years I think removed now from high school. Like we're so understaffed, so underfunded. Like, and as you probably know, Mississippi public school education is in the top third for worst in the country. So we're not, like these kids just want to play ball, and again that hard work aspect is very much ingrained inside of me. Like I come from a blue collar military family, and I used to watch my parents leave at 3 in the morning and not get back till 7 o'clock at night, and we're all just poor as shit, but they worked very hard, and that's kind of how I am, and that's how I expect. That's like my expectations.
Hmm.
Like one thing I still remember, like we'd have fit lift at like 5:30 in the morning, and like I was at the facility at 5 waiting for Alex. I was very much the first one there. I'm like, no, 30 minutes early is on time. I've gone away from that a little bit now. Having two kids, I'm more of like a 10 minutes early is going time kind of guy, but I'm still usually early.
100%. Dude, I agree with you on the tech thing. I feel like that's a little even taboo for me to say as someone who works like in baseball, which is like all about tech and data. Um, but I agree with you. Like I think sometimes people mistake like using data for like an easy way out of just training hard. Like they think if you get in this like if you train at the specific speed zone or do this or that, it kind of trumps just exerting a lot of effort,
Yeah,
which not to say that one is always going to be the answer to the other, but like I'm with you. Like especially at like I mean even in my situation, like there'll be times like we have to do like jumps on the force plate, and it's like I'm like staring at an iPad for like 15 minutes out of the session, and that like bothers me. And like I get why we do it, but it's like a little part of me is like like this is a sports science type of thing. This isn't a strength coach type of thing. I'm having to kind of play both. But dude, I agree. It's like the toys are cool, and I think it's good to know how to use them. But when you like rely on them too much, that's where it becomes an issue of like, oh, I need to use this. I got like five different pieces of tech in this one workout, and that's really all like consumes me the whole thing.
yeah.
And you're not actually like paying attention to what's actually going on.
But even like I would even go as far as like the Aura Ring or the Whoop Band. Like, oh, my readiness score is really low today. I'm like, okay, well, how do you feel? Oh, I feel great. Okay, you're really gonna rely on your fucking watch telling you how you
Yeah,
feel? Let's go. So it's like again, I understand there's probably millions and millions of dollars that go into developing those technologies. But again, like the human themselves, these athletes know how they feel better than a piece of tech or I know how they're feeling. So like if you feel good, fuck what the tech says. Go ahead and rip, do what you got to do. But yeah, if you're genuinely feeling like shit, let's change some things. Let's see what's really
mm-hmm.
going on.
And that, you bring up a really good point with like the tech on like the wellness aspect of it.
Excuse me.
You're good with like the readiness, right? Like how often are you seeing that, especially nowadays, where they're coming in, they might feel good, but they're looking at their scores or their whoop in or their aura ring, and they're like, well, it says I shouldn't do much, right? And the sidebar of that is, you know, having seen that firsthand, where I myself deal with that with a sport that honestly any small thing feels like it's like the biggest thing for a lot of athletes in track and field. They're like, oh, this, like I planned for everything. I figured you're going to feel okay today, so you should be able to go fine. Like, what is your intervention with that conversation,
You
right,
know,
around that?
I think my athletes kind of know how, like, they know how I am. So if they come to me and they bring up that bullshit, they're gonna get that response. Like, oh, okay, how do you feel? Oh, I feel really good. Okay, you text bullshit. Get the fuck out. Let's go lift. But no, if they're like, oh, my aura is giving me a shitty readiness score. I'm like, okay, how do you feel? I feel like shit. Okay, let's change some things. Because again, like, and I have no problem having that conversation with them, like right center logo, middle of the weight room. like again, it's not that I don't believe in it, but like your body better than anybody does, right? So no, if you feel good, let's go. If you don't, let's change it up a little bit. Like we had a lift on Thursday. Men's soccer had a midweek on Wednesday, and we trained on Thursday. I'm like, they came to the weight room, and I was like, look, the guys who played all 90 minutes, like maybe let's just look some good range of motion. But if you feel good, let's send it a little bit. Um, and the guys who sat on the bench, again, like if you feel good, let's send it a little bit. I understand what soccer's doing to you. I understand soccer's a very, very hard sport. But again, like it's a midweek, and you play again in 5-6 days. So again, you're far enough from the next competition where you can do a little bit of something. But yeah, I think they gotten to the point now where if they come to me only if they genuinely feel bad and they're ready to score is shit as well. Like
So
my
it's almost like
family,
you've.
like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's almost like you've nipped it in the bud from the start of like it's more important of what you're feeling than whatever that says,
Yeah, 100%.
and that's the conversation that you want to have. Is I want to know what you're feeling versus hey, this says something. So you've almost like negated you can have that aura ring, you can have that whoop band that's going to tell you X, Y, Z. But if you're going to approach me with this conversation, I'm not going to ask you about that. I'm going to ask you, does your body feel good? Do
Yeah.
you feel like shit? Did you sleep well? Like, I want to know what you think, not what that's telling you.
No, right, exactly.
Kind of pulling back into like the human aspect of it versus the tech aspect of it.
Like I said, it's like again, I understand like these things do work and going to have millions of dollars of research and advertising and marketing behind them, and yeah, they're every tool has its place, right? But when the tool is kind of leading the decisions, like I think that's where kind of the field goes wrong a little bit. But again, I don't have all the tech to play with. Like I recently just was able to use CSP's force plates a little bit for some research, and like I'm looking at these force traces. I'm like it's a whole new world to me, and I'm still trying to learn and figure it out. Through school and everything, but it's interesting. But like I still think, yeah, how you feel, and again, showing up, the consistency is again always going to yield results. So it doesn't matter what tech you have.
Now, when you talk about this, I believe you might have something up your sleeve that you're not telling everybody right now. Are you in pursuit of your PhD?
I am. I'm currently. So I guess I am ABD. I am a doctoral candidate. Um, I should be finished up kind of with everything end of December, and I have my final defense in the middle of February, I believe, if my timeline's correct. So I'll be Doctor Coach Neumann.
Oh
So
yeah.
the guy that's telling you that he's just an idiot Mississippi boy is going to be a PhD.
No, dude, I just
Do you not see the oxymoron in
no,
that?
100%. Like, and I'm gonna take a page in a Mike Dango's book. Like, I don't know how to fucking read. Like, I remember, I think he said something like that a few years ago at CVASP. Like, no, I don't know everything. Like, I know a lot, sure, but I don't know. I barely know anything. Like, I'm still so green in the field, and like, but thankfully, I've done a really good job. I feel like of surrounding myself with some really, really good people that know way, way more than I do. And then like the gentleman who's going to pass or fail me, his name is Brian Serrano. He's a strength coach with the Bulls, like, and he's a doctor of chiropractic. He has a PhD. Like, he's extremely, extremely smart. And then one of my committee members, his name's Mark Asanovich. He actually created the four-way neck machine with Dynamic. Um, he's an NFL vet, and he was strength coach in the NFL, I think for like 35 years or something like that. And he's extremely hard on me. He challenges me in ways that I never even thought before. And then my last committee member is Dr. Lana Huberty, who's the dean of kinesiology at CSP. So even though she may not be in the sports performance field, like she's the dean of the school for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and then obviously like within the group chat, you, Alex, Zach, and Tyler, like y'all are very, very smart in your own specific niche ways. So I'm extremely blessed with the people I'm surrounded by and I get to learn from. Like, and I said, I genuinely, I like 9 times out of 10, like I forget who I was talking. Maybe I was talking to y'all, or maybe it was just Alex individually. But like, I look back at like my soccer off-season summer program. Like, this is ass, dude. This I don't know why I wrote this, and try to critique it and move it forward again. But like, no, it's like I've done a really good job of surrounding myself with some really, really, really smart people.
Yeah.
Dude.
Talk a little bit about like, because like research, what is it? Research based practice is like kind of like a hot buzzword. But as someone who's gone through like a terminal degree based around research, how have you been able to take that? How has that helped you in your application of being like a day to day strength coach?
One thing I talk about even in my manuscript right now is like all this research you read is 9 times out of 10 in a lab perfect setting, and that's not what strength and conditioning is. That's not what sports performance is. That's not what athletics is, right? So like no shit, somebody's going to yield strength gains after 6 weeks of resistance training in a perfect formulated setting. No shit. But now let's add schoolwork, let's add practice, let's add all these other things, and then like look at the bigger picture, right? Again, like, and I go back to this. Like, consistency is always going to yield real results, right? Like, you don't get good at your sport overnight. You don't get good at weightlifting overnight. So like reading these bits and pieces and kind of and like not taking this research in these results with like a grain of salt, but like a little bit. You have to understand again, these are lab perfect settings, and that's not what sports are. It's not what we do. They're so chaotic and so dynamic. It's You got to figure out. You just kind of have to like take bits and pieces and figure out how to implement them, if that makes sense. Like I've never once read a study. I'm like, oh, this is going to change everything on why I do it. If I read something, I'm like, let's maybe switch this up a little bit and maybe change this one thing. But I've never once read even like a handful of research papers and changed the whole way I do things. It's just, in my opinion, that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I totally
Friendship.
agree. I totally agree. I just think it's so interesting when, I don't know, it's becoming more common. Like people are pursuing more like research based degrees in the field of sports performance, and I mean, for better or for worse, it's probably going to be the norm in 20 years. Kind of how the
Oh yeah,
master's degree is essentially the norm now. But I think it's cool, especially when you mentioned the people that are actually like involved in your process of like getting the PhD and the dissertation. That the people that you're around are actually like in the field and not just people sitting in the ivory tower and never
right.
left academia. I think it's really cool when you're like working with people that have actually worked in the field and being able to take do research and actually have it be a little bit more practical as opposed to just okay, let me publish a study because that's what I do is publish studies.
Right. No, no, and no, I agree. I think that's something that significantly has helped me. Just like you said, the people who are going to pass or fail me, they either retired in the field or still very much active in the field, and like I said, they've really helped me get that kind of gain that perspective. Like again, this research says this, but real world application is not this at all. Like it's and they make me feel fucking stupid. Like every single time I submit a draft of my paper, it comes back red. Even I'm at like edit 10 or 10 or 11, I'm still getting it back and it's red. I'm like, come on, how much more can I do? So it's a very exhausting process, but I think it's very fruitful and it's going to yield me some good results in the long run.
So when you were considering the idea behind the PhD, like what was like the driving factor for you to go past the masters, right? I know everybody like thinks about, if I do masters, I can get a better job, I can do this, this, and this, right? The PhD is kind of like it's a weird one because it might not always yield a direct correlation to a change in your career or an expansion of your career. It can, obviously, especially moving towards like, assistant AD roles or even upwards. Like, what was it for you that really drove the decision, especially as someone that, you've always been a learner? Was this strictly, I want to get a PhD to get a PhD, or was there some like external factors that kind of drove you to this?
A little, kind of a little bit of everything. Like, there's only been like I'm saying like I'm a first generation college student. The only like I wanted to set the bar high for my kids, and like my wife is a MBA as well, and like again, I am from a very underprivileged area, so like, and I kind of want to lead by example for like the people in my hometown. Of like, if you want to do it, you can do it. You just got to grind a little bit, like, and I have a bunch of younger nieces and a bunch of younger nieces and nephews, and again, just kind of want to set the bar high. Like again, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? And again, like again, set the bar for my kids. I want them to be like, look, my dad did it with all his trials and tribulations, and I can do it too. But kind of to answer your question, a little bit of everything. Like part, like I want to get a PhD just kind of do it. Like I value continuing education, but I'm not going to do it unless somebody is giving me the resources type deal. Like that's just kind of how my brain works right now. Um, because like I've read all Charlie Francis' stuff, Cal Dietz triphasic stuff, Jim Wendler's 531 stuff. I've read a lot of Michael Yes's like 1 by 20 stuff. Like those are the foundations that like Alex gave me to build me up who I am right now. But yeah, so part of it was like, yeah, let me get a PhD, let me figure that out. But like hopefully it leads me to a few different routes. But like if I get to stay in the sports performance field my entire life and get to train athletes my entire life, I'm not gonna be mad about it. Like I love my job, I love what I do. But if I have the opportunity to kind of go the athletic director route, again, I'm not gonna be mad at that. Even the professor route, I'm not gonna be mad about that. Because like I've kind of gone now. Like I would love a power forward job, I would love a pro job, but I have 2 kids, I have a wife. Like my priorities have shifted a little bit. And don't get me wrong, if those opportunities ever were to present themselves, we would seriously consider it. Like because that's something I want to do. I want to chase my dreams. I want to provide for my family any way I can. And again, there's multiple different avenues that can get me to where I want to go. Um, but also, I just want to be helpful. I want to be a good resource in the field. So like as a strength coach, you're not just playing, strength coach, you're playing therapist, you're playing nutritionist a little bit, you're playing friend. Like, so you have to be well-rounded, kind of all these other expertise or these other areas to provide a good service. And so like, again, I just want to be a good product and a good resource for my athletes. If they ever have a question, comments, concern, whatever, they can come to me and be like, look, I'm interested about this, or hey, I'm interested about this supplement. This is going to help me, yada yada yada. So I'm like, oh, let's find out. Let's see. I love doing stuff like that. Um, Again, I just felt like I was put on this earth to help in any way I can, and if I can help that way, I'm going to. So it just kind of gave me the educational means and the connections to find answers.
I mean, that's for someone who, like I said, for someone who wholeheartedly states you're not, you don't know everything, you don't know this, you don't know that. There's a lot of use of the self awareness to drive like a very conviction based like continued education.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't see that a lot of times. A lot of times it's these things are promoted on like a more like, I don't want to say like selfish reasons, but more so towards like well, I know that if I get this degree, it will lead to XYZ versus I know that I need someone to push me essentially to continue my education, to be better and to grow. So I'm gonna chase that and let the other things kind of follow.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
that's a really cool thing to do that. And now you've exposed yourself to far new different things. Like you talked about, like going over the force traces from the force decks. That's something that you haven't had experience in, and now you're getting that to where if you ever encounter that now within your field or within your specific position that you have, it's not going to be something that you have to truly, I guess, relearn, or it's a new experience for you. You have familiarity to it, so it's going to be easier for you to implement without being invasive to
No,
your
right.
regular job or your normal sessions.
No, one thing I thought was interesting through the the force decks was like you can still kind of match PRs even if fatigued, kind of for jump measurables to a degree. But if you look at the ground contact time, like that can really register how fatigued you really are. Like if you're able to get off the ground in a millisecond versus 4 milliseconds, like oh shit, you're probably a little bit tired, but you still hit a really high jump number just because you're twitchy. So like I think using that modality kind of in the future in a bigger scale would be is really beneficial. But again, I'm so new to that field. I could just be talking out of my ass right now. What do I know?
I mean, but that's the people that you want to learn from. Sorry, French, I know I'm cutting you off.
Or
I was
good.
just saying, the people who continuously tell you they don't know enough about it to truly diagnose something without speaking of absolute certainty, that's the people that are probably going to be a little bit more informed because they're aware of the limitations. So that's when you're talking about stuff like that. Now I'm thinking about, okay, well, if we use this, I should keep that in mind, in some way, shape, or form.
All right.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm like at a similar spot with you with the force traces. Like I guess I was first exposed to it when I first took this job, but it's you know, there's so many metrics you can look at, and like everything affects everything to an extent.
Yeah.
Um, but I agree with you. Like someone's jump strategy, I think really influences. Like you can feel like shit and still jump really high, but the strategy will look a little bit different from if
Yeah.
you feel fresh. And then I think kind of where the point I'm at is like, okay, all this stuff affects all this stuff to an extent. I think the part where really I want to get to is like, can we use it to like inform programming, or should we even use it to inform programming? Kind of to go back to the tech, like we don't want to just be like, okay, it said this in a force plate, therefore I do this in the program. Like I don't ever want to get to that point. I don't think it's ever really going to be that one-to-one correlation. But why are you using it if you can't use it to help you kind of make informed decisions and base, at least if nothing else, see if what you're doing is working,
No, right. Like and like another good thing with like St. Cloud, I think like I've had a been able to kind of partner up with our human performance lab and our kinesiology department to develop 3 research manuscripts. We developed one for an AI company named Sports Vision. Zach is a part of that. And then we partnered with Firefly, the little recovery device on the lower leg to look at recovery protocols kind of in between warm ups or in an in game setting. So we ran one of our soccer teams through a fatigue protocol, um, put them on the bench theoretically for like 15 minutes with the Firefly, and then retested. Part of it was like, let's see if maybe we can negate the warm up a little bit if you're ready to go sit on the bench or if you're kind of like a ready player. Because like as you warm up, that you're getting fatigued, right? So if you can sit on the bench, have your leg twitch a little bit, and then just throw you right into the game, like hopefully like your nervous system's still good, your blood flow's still good, your body temperature's still good, and you can just throw you in instead of having to spend 10 minutes on warming up. Um, like unfortunately, some of it didn't yield the best results, but it was still cool to be a part of that. Um, and then even like right now through my research, I'm looking at kind of force traces of the Olympic derivatives of like a trap bar versus straight bar jump shrug right now. Um, at the big debate over the last 5 years, it's like, oh, you don't need a power clean, you do need a power clean, yada yada yada. Who gives a shit? Just move the needle, right? But one thing I've noticed, nobody has directly correlated or directly compared the two. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
It's a little bit interesting because you kind of say it in the aspect of like it's this dumb argument, and now like you're spending your time on your research to just be like, let's just end it. Let's just end it and be done with it.
Yeah,
Find out what's better and move along, right?
yeah.
Move the needle, right? So I guess like for you when you're looking at it, like which one of the two is your hypothesis versus your null?
So my hypothesis is like a trap bar jump shrug is going to yield greater power results than a straight bar jump shrug. And one thing I talk about a little bit is about the biomechanics behind it. Um, when you're in a trap bar, you're in a fucking open square or open hexagon, whatever the hell you or whatever. So the knee pattern's gonna look significantly different than pulling with a straight bar. And then if you want to talk about specificity, like you can go in a stagger stance, do a pretty cool high stagger stance trap bar jump, and again have that good knee pathing to replicate jumping or replicate coming out of a blocks or whatever. Versus you can't really do that with a straight bar, and have it be more biomechanically friendly, as you should say. Um, especially with that second pull, whenever you jump, whenever you sprint, there's no different segments. It's all just kind of transitions slowly into one big thing, right? So like again, my opinion, you're going to yield more. You're going to yield more power results with a trap bar because it's going to be way more of a natural jumping motion than again having to move the knees out of the way to get under it for your second pull.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing I'm genuinely excited for. Being in track and field and having a lot of international athletes, the question that I get all the time is why don't we Olympic lift? And I'll be very happy when you publish that research and I can just hand them that paper and just say read this from Dr. Josh Neumann, and you get back to me and tell me what you think should be better.
No, right. But even like lab results don't always like it's like, oh, it's not statistically significant, but still like we work in a field where just because it's not statistically significant doesn't mean it's not significant, right? And my thing,
Exactly.
let's say the straight bar does pull or does yield more power results, right? Like you can still look at the EMG data of like low back injuries, low back stress, the shearing forces behind that, and you can look at this research from okay, I don't remember his first name, but his last name's Lake. He showed just doing a trap bar deadlift to a straight bar deadlift instantly takes off like 50 to 75% of the stress off the lumbar spine. I understand when you move that to a ballistic movement, like it kind of negates that, but I feel like that's too big of a number. You can't just ignore, like so even if you jump with something that's pretty heavy, but don't land with it, just let it go. It's gonna land by your side. You're gonna be perfectly fine. Versus like with a straight bar again, like your landing mechanics gonna look a little bit differently. And again, if you land with a true soft knee and let go of the barbell, it's going to smash right into your knee.
That's very true. Now, one thing that I want to talk about that you brought up, right? It might not be statistically significant in a lab. However, going back to our conversation about like your softball player with that point zero 0.01 improvement, right? If we look at that, that's not a statistically, significant change. However, especially in the chaotic realm of sports, a small enough change like that could mean the difference of that being an infield triple or just getting on
Getting
first
out at third,
base.
right?
Yeah. You
Like
know,
and I always go back to the example, top level athletes like train their entire life to get maybe a 0.01% better. Like I understand it's an extreme example. I deal with some pretty high level athletes, but again, consistency is always going to yield results, especially with my population. It's one thing I've learned a little bit more from Margasanovich, especially him dealing with all those NFL vets. Um, some guys are not going to respond to barbell back squat all the time. They're gonna have to switch the modality. Even if you go to belt squat, split squat, whatever, like you have to find a way to move the needle, especially for those older people. And kind of we're seeing that now in my population. Like, um, we're gonna kind of develop an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old kind of the same up until a certain point. Especially once we're in season again, look good, feel good, play good. Things are going to change. Like, let's say we have a quad dominant day or a quad dominant lower body movement, and like, oh, I can't front squat today. Okay, let's find something else. Like let's do a barbell step up. Let's go on the leg press. Let's do something else that's going to get the same stimulus that's going to make you feel good, right? Um, I forgot where I was going with that. Brain's all
all
over
I'm
the
what
place.
I what I'm gathering in it is the last like 25 to 30 minutes we have absolutely just uncovered the other realm of you. First 35 40 minutes of the podcast today, we've talked about everything and anything of like, hey man, just be simple, just go meathead, go be grindy, this, that, and the other. And then now we've really just flipped the script into like you genuinely showing, uh, hey man, like your PhD candidate is showing. You might
No,
like
but like I go on like I just want to be the best. I should say I want to be the best. That's not possible. Like I strive for greatness. Again, I want to be the best version of myself I can be. When the athletes come to me, they can ask a question, I can confidently answer them, and if I don't have the answer, I know how to find the answer. Right. Like some of the next steps, I would love to get like my registered nutritionist license or my what's the sports science certification, one of those, even like
CPSS or
yeah,
whatever it's
and like
called.
mhm.
I'm looking like Ole Miss and Drexel offer like master's level NCAA compliance certificate. Like I'm even looking at that. Like I'm always looking at next steps. Like that's the athlete inside of me, right? Like, here's the bar. I'm never able to meet the bar, but when I finally do, let's go ahead and move it again. So I'm just constantly just striving for greatness. That's just what I want to do, and can just be the best resource I possibly can for our athletes. Whether it be if I'm in the AD realm, and still kids be like, oh, this is my athletic director's background. Maybe I can go to him for some help. Or if I'm still a performance coach, again, I can confidently answer my athletes. And if I don't know the answer, again, confidently know how to find them.
So for you, like, what is, as kind of taking that same thought process, what's like the end goal for you to where you'll be able to be the most influential and strive to have that, not perfection, but the reach, I should say, to influence everything as much as possible towards that common goal of high performance, a great environment, happy athletes, all those things above. Like, where would you kind of see that this is where you're going to fit into the puzzle, and what kind of job does that look like? What kind of career does that look like?
I think I'm going to be able to foster kind of the environment either realm I'm in. Either if I am a professor, or I am a performance coach, or I am an athletic director, like I think I'm going to be able to foster the kind of that environment either way I go, because like you get what you get with me. I'm not like that's just like my New Orleans Cajun background. Like, fuck your feelings to a degree. Like, let's. This is the answer, and the line's not in the sand; it's in the stone. It's yes or no. It's black and white. So like, but that's who I am. Like, sometimes I go into meetings or a meeting with our athletes. I feel like trainers like, oh, this hurts. Okay, you're weak as shit. So let's figure that out. Or we're dealing with budgeting. I'm like, okay, let's not spend money on this, or let's maybe fire this person. Haven't really got to that quite yet, but like, it's what you get with me is always going to be raw. I'm not a bullshitter. My athletes know that. I'm not going to be like, oh well, maybe try again tomorrow. That's just not who I am. It's I've never once like try to make my athletes feel good. Like we work in a very objective, wins and losses. Before like it's really cut and dry. Like the whole participation trophy thing, like you can get me going with that, but like no, it's you're winning or you're losing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's cut and dry. And again, I think that's kind of fostered who I am as a person, and that's kind of always how I'm going to foster my experience and how I'm going to build my environment. You're either winning or you're losing. So, but like
Hell yeah.
one thing I hope I'm able to do again is hopefully have my kids kind of not follow my legacy, but follow my same like I guess moral empathy. I guess like just want to be good, productive citizens of society. Don't be an asshole. Leave places better than you found it. I really I'm really hard on myself in terms of like trying to be a good husband, good father, like good coach. Like I just want to be, and it's hard to balance both. Like the last 3 weeks, like I said, my assistant's gone, so I'm leaving the house at 4, not getting back till 6:30. So I've literally like most the last 3 weeks I've been able to see my kids for like maybe 15 minutes a day. That's bugging the shit out of me. But like on the second half, I know I'm able to provide a good resource for my athletes, and also wear my emotions on my sleeves a little bit. Like if my athletes, if I like, they know when I'm bugged or that they know something's going on, and if they ask me like, you want the political answer, or you want the real answer? 'Cause I'll give you both. So like they also kind of know me again if I'm look down or whatever. Like what's going on? Like I fucking hate my job right now. This sucks, but let's get after it, baby. Like I just love training. It's fun. It's fun when the athletes buy in. So yeah, I think I'm able to foster that environment either aspect. So even when I go sit in or when I participate in the academic side of things with Dr. Kyle Reason at St. Cloud, like I'm the exact same way. Like that's it. I'm not. I don't know. I'm just this is who I am. So I could talk way too much. I'm way too loud. It's yeah.
I love it.
We
So
love
I
it.
hope that answers your question.
It does.
No,
Frenchie?
it's yeah, love it.
I
Love
feel I
learning
feel
from you.
like I got to get your opinion on this last question. We already kind of covered like what do you think? I mean, if you want to add any more hot takes on the field, but in addition to that, um, if you could have any like superpower, and there's no limits on this one. What's it going to be for Josh Newman,
Dude, I've
future
thought about this
Doctor Josh
way too
Newman?
much, way too much. It would
Yes.
it would be teleportation. I think like that's like the ultimate superpower, right? Like you're getting robbed at gunpoint, bam, behind you, whatcha, done, and then disappear again. I'm like, oh, I'm really stressed out today. I've had a long day. Bam, Bora Bora on the beach, sipping a martini or something like, or a margarita, pina colada. You know, like you're in harm's way, gone, right? Or like I can just get into a huddle with my kids and my family. Bam, we're in Disney World or whatever. Like, I just think that's the ultimate superpower. Plus, like I travel, I commute an hour to work every day. Like my wife's the breadwinner, so I'm gonna sacrifice my commute for hers. Um, yeah, like that would kill an hour of my time, right? Like, oh, it's 5:30, bam, at the facility. No, like I think that'd be a good one.
That would also, I mean, I think that'd be sick. Like the other things too is like you could take any job in the entire world because it wouldn't matter,
No, right.
or just never take a job and just teleport into a bank vault.
There we go. I didn't say it.
That's where my head goes.
No, like, it's like who's gonna catch you?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, they put you in jail? Oh, I'll just teleport back out.
what's the? Oh, damn. Didn't they make a movie about this?
Yeah, it was
Jump
it
was it
had
Jumper or something like that? Or
Jumper, yeah. It
yeah,
had Hayden Christensen.
yeah.
Little Anakin Skywalker action.
Dude, like I think that'd be sick. Yeah, I think about that way too much. To be honest with you, there's some hot takes and some crazy tinfoil hat um, situations in my brain, but we can say that for another day if you like.
Yeah, man.
Episode 2 just of scathing takes.
Dude, it's like I'm gonna give you one. Whenever COVID hit, I told Alex, I'm like, the reason COVID happened was so they could replace the batteries in the birds. 100%. The birds are government spies. Damn it. But no, it's just like there's a bunch of hot takes in my brain. But like I said, we can have a part two if you like.
I think we might have to.
100%.
We can get pretty wild.
What? Yeah. When you're Dr. Josh Neumann, we definitely have to have you back on.
No, yeah, I would love to. And said whenever those things get done, I said I'm gonna try my best to hopefully have it published in one of the journals. But that's kind of another rigorous process. Another of its own. And if maybe y'all know this, maybe y'all don't, but like all the research y'all read, kind of in these journals and stuff, are already like 3-4 years old at a minimum. So like that's also what a lot of people don't understand. Like it's already starting to be kind of outdated as it's being published a little bit. Like I think that was kind of eye opening to me as well. I'm like, oh, this will be a seamless transition. I'll get my results and then try to publish them. Like, yeah, that's not how it works. I'm like, cool. So yeah, whenever I get done, I'll gladly send it y'all's way and let y'all read it. And like I said, even if it doesn't, even whatever the results are, like I don't think it's gonna truly change the way my training is. Just because like if you believe in something and you're able to implement it, it's gonna work better. That's just kind of, and like I said, I thankfully kind of humble brag, been able to develop, in collaboration like with their hard work and their coaches, like I think like 50 plus All Americans so far at St. Cloud. So
Jesus.
we're doing something right.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of drop that one in there.
Yeah.
I think
Casual 50 All-Americans.
we're doing a really 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 good job, and like even though St. Cloud is very understaffed and underfunded, like we got some dogs and we make some noise in the NSIC conference across the board, and even the GLIAC within our men's soccer team and swim and dive. So and like not to keep ranting, but I think we do something a cool dynamic. St. Cloud is a split university, so we have Division II teams, but with men and women's Division I hockey. Um, and normally, I feel like in institutions like that, the Division I guy is kind of over everybody. That's not how the case is at all. There's Jake, who's our Division I guy. There's me, who's our Division II guy, and we both report to Holly. We don't report to our athletic trainers. We don't report to anybody else. It's our ads, our superiors, and
That's
we're,
a sick
we're
setup.
we're very much equal. We're not one's better than the other type deal. Granted, they may have a little bit more funding. They are our flagship programs. They get a little bit more tech. Like they have some pitch sharks that I'm jealous of, but like he has to travel all the time, and I get to be home on the weekends with my kids and my family every weekend, and that's huge. Like and priorities have shifted a little bit. So
Not a bad trade off.
no, not at all. And like ever since I've been here, like I got into snowmobiling and all those fun things. So I look forward to winter now. Like bring me to the UP and 400 inches of snow and let's go wreak some havoc. And I get to do that on the Division II side of things, right? And like I said, if a pro Power Four job, call me up, let me know. We'll make some things happen. But it's no, I do. I genuinely love life. I think I'm a genuine positive person, and I foster a good environment kind of wherever I go, and I have no problem talking, connecting, even though I'm naturally probably a introvert. Like, give me 40 acres of land in the middle of Wyoming and leave me the fuck alone. But if I get put in this setting, I have no problem talking.
Dude, incredible. Frenchie, I'll give you a couple minutes here once to close us out. But before we close out, Josh, we appreciate you having us on. You got the floor, man. Whatever you want to say, whatever you want, people can find you. This is your shining moment. This is us saying thank you to you to being on here. So I think we're up to 107 listeners on
Hey,
YouTube now, 107 subscribers.
nice.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we have on Spotify. French has those numbers, but we're slightly growing. So if you want to promote anything, take the floor and go for it.
Just I'll say follow me on Instagram if you have any questions, whatever. I post training every now and then. I post a lot of my kids usually on my stories. Or I post something me doing something stupid on my stories. But my Instagram handle is just josh.neumann.51. I still love to answer questions. I'm an open book, and even if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I try to figure it out. And no, and I'm a kind of a most recent listener. I would say I texted you when I was your 101 subscriber or whatever, and I usually listen on Spotify on my way to work. So no, that's my go-to. I appreciate y'all having me on, and it's a blessing. And I would say my end message is just be blessed for what you have, right? And that's kind of been my takeaway the last 3 weeks at school. Like, there's people all across the country, all across the world, dealing with their own trials and tribulations, and yet you get to be here as a Division II athlete. You are blessed. You're alive. You're awake. Even like no matter what your stance is on the world, your political opinion, whatever, none of that shit matters. You're alive. You're well. You get to come to St. Cloud State. You get to be a Division II athlete. You get to perform, and you have a healthy body. And there's millions of kids that would love to be in those shoes, and don't ever take that for granted. Just be blessed.
I love it. Frenchie, you want to close us out?
Yeah, no, that was incredible, dude. Really appreciate you taking the time. We got to have a part two at some point, no doubt. Hell
I'll be
yeah,
available.
hell yeah, yeah. But as always, thanks everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate the support. If you want to grab a shirt or a hat, support the boys with some merch. Bevboys.com, Instagram bevboys.tv. Past, future, present episodes, little clips. You can find our personal socials. French_fit40 for me, Bev Boys clips, training clips, and whatnot. Brian can be
I,
found at
BSZUTKOWSKI. B Shakusky on Instagram. Training clips. Bev Boys. Upcoming. If by the time this comes out, there'll be some Sprintember stuff on my Instagram as well. Shout out Mike Tucker. So some of that stuff will be up there as well.
Yep, and then make sure to obviously follow Josh. Yeah, dude, appreciate everyone watching, and stay tuned. We got some more exciting episodes coming up. So really excited for the future of the Bev Boys empire, so to say. So appreciate y'all. Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. Tune in.
All right. We'll see you in
All
the
right.
next one.
That's
Deuces.
right. Peace.
Peace.